So as we do the introductions, I'll just go through your slides.
Okay,
All right,
cool.
and then explain your art a little bit.
Okay, cool. Okay, we're gonna introductions, explain our art. I think the mic's live. Okay, yeah, sounds good. Yeah.
All right, we are on the dot. Good afternoon, everybody. How are we doing? You want to learn how to stream some art, huh? Yeah?
Yeah.
I love the passion. All right, you're going to be the next streamer that I follow now. But if y'all don't know who I am Ashley, also known as Miss Ash Rocks. I'm a Twitch partner, Twitch ambassador. You probably see my face all over TwitchCon, so that's me. Hello, different wig though. But super excited to be the host of this panel today. We have some amazing, talented artists up here. You're going to learn all the nitty-gritty about how to stream art, and you get to learn about their experience and hear their stories. So let's dive into it. We're going to start off with intros here. All right, we first have Katelyn, my love. If you can share about, your content creation journey and your art journey. We'd love to hear it.
Yeah, sure. Hi, I'm Katelyn McCaigue. I do mostly creature art and comic stuff. I got into Twitch and YouTube when I couldn't really secure a job fresh out of college, so I was like, I'm just going to make stuff myself. And so that's kind of what I jumped into, but this is still kind of a side hustle for me. So I still have a full-time job, but then I'm streaming on the side. Yeah, so I'm a graphic designer by day. And then this is some of my art. I like Dungeons & Dragons, monsters, comics, the whole shebang.
Wow, you are so good.
Oh, thanks.
I told Katelyn, I said, yeah, I can't do any of this. I will just pay you to do it. I can maybe draw a circle perfectly.
Perfect circle.
And we have Chris. Let's learn a little about you too.
I'm Chris Kaiko. I'm a full-time Twitch streamer. I work with DeviantArt, and my streams are focused around just studying fundamentals, and I do full-time cons as well, and I like to do live art, like ink artwork, heavily influenced by Kim Jong-gi. And yeah, it's nice to be here. That's what we do on my stream, just hang out and study. And that's some of my work there.
Perfect, thank you. Casey.
Hi, I'm Casey. I started on YouTube. I don't know if that's a bad word to say here. But I moved to Canada and I didn't have a job, so I started making YouTube videos to just fill in my time and just stay creative. Then I started doing streaming, which brought me to Twitch. I honestly just like to focus on creating silly, fun artwork that just makes people laugh or just is goofy and fun to make. So I'm fully employed by myself doing YouTube video streams, merch, all that stuff. And yeah, I draw a lot of ants, prompts, stuff like that. Yeah. Lots of ants. Lots of ants.
Perfect, thank you. And Priscilla, let's learn a little about you too.
Hi, I'm Priscilla, aka Valor and Vellum on Twitch. I do all kinds of artwork, art prints, stickers, enamel pins, designer toys, and like a lot of people, once the shutdown happened, I kind of turned to Twitch, and we were able to create an amazing community that just kind of came together because we needed that socialization. So yeah, and I've been, thanks to the shutdown, I started learning how to do a bunch of other types of like art media as well. So yeah, that's about it. And I sell at a lot of conventions, and you can see some of my art here. So there's the designer toys, an example of one of the pins, and then I do a lot of like Asian folklore kind of content. So it's mostly original character art.
Perfect, thank you. Oh, we can clap. We can do it.
Hello. Oh, okay. It wasn't working earlier. Hi, I'm Poku, or most people, hello. Most people call me Poku on Twitch, Pokuri Mio, the long version, but my real name is Gina. Nice to meet you guys. I've been streaming on Twitch for about 6 years, mostly art the whole time, video games here and there. I work on a comic called Clinic of Horrors with the writer Merriweather. I don't know if you guys heard of him before. And yeah, mostly anime, inspired, anime manga inspired artwork that I do there. Yep, that's me.
Ooh, I like the middle one. Perfect. Now we're going to get into why would anyone want to stream art, all right? We stream art because we want to share our process, and how we create art is something we want to share with our communities, all right? Meeting people with a similar interest as well is important and helps you keep focused. You know, you can get your commissions done while you're streaming and share that with your community. And, you know, your audience feels more connected to the art, and getting to interact with you during that process is amazing. It's a great feeling. And, you know, this can also turn into more sales, you know, commissions, more inquiries, and so forth. And we'll have some of the panelists touch on this too. Like, why do you stream art?
I know for me, it helps me stay focused, even though we get sidetracked with dumb stories and inside jokes. It's still, like, I produce more within 2 hours of being on stream than if it was me with, like, a true crime documentary on the side, like, drawing by myself. So it really keeps me focused, and then it's also just a way to, like, show my work to the world in a way.
If I can jump in, I think since it helps show the entire process, or it can show the entire process from start to finish, it kind of helps people realize the value in art and why it costs as much as it costs, because oftentimes people are like, this is expensive, or I could do this myself. You may have heard that before. So I think when people actually see the entire process, it really helps them see firsthand, like, oh, this is why they spent this much time, it took that much effort to do this.
I also find it's similar to being in a room full of like friends. You get a lot of friends together and draw and like bounce ideas off of each other. I've had merch created from like goofy ideas from the chats, and I've created a lot of fun art and just got ideas for creating other things. So it's kind of like being in a big room full of creatives and just talking together, and, you know, like Katelyn said, like getting inside jokes. It's a lot of fun. Just in general, just fun.
A big reason why I started streaming was actually because art is like a really lonely thing. You're just kind of by yourself usually, unless, you know, you meet up with people at a cafe or something, which doesn't really happen too often, I would say. So streaming on art, I actually got to make a lot of art friends and like meet a lot of creatives that, you know, had the same passion and stuff like that. And I think, I don't know, that's a big one for me, for why I started anyways.
And I guess more on the business side, I mean, you do want people to start being invested in you, because after a while, because there's a lot of people who are really good at art these days. So it's like when they want to hire you for something, often it's maybe more of like they like you as a person and an artist more so than, you know, like your rate. And streaming, that gets connect with you like one-on-one and kind of get more like about you. So I think that's really important.
And I bet it's awesome to just see your art from 3 years ago to now. You can see how much you've grown as an artist. I'm pretty sure that's how you all feel. You're like, wow, look at this drawing from before. Look at it now. I've gotten so much better. And you get to share that with your community. So that's the fun part about this. And now we're going to talk about what you need to stream art, okay? Here's what you need. Here's some basics to get you started, okay? Of course, minimum needs, you need a computer or a phone to stream from, all right? You need a monitor, webcam or not, and a camera arm for a traditional artist, a microphone to chat with your community and engage, and art tools and supplies that you'll need. And of course, internet. That's how we all connect, right?
Yeah.
And streaming equipment recommendations for digital artists, of course, you need a streaming software, OBS, Streamlabs OBS, Stream Elements Live, and the Twitch app for mobile. And some tablet brands that they recommended were Wacom, Huon, I think I'm saying that right.
No one knows how to say it.
Yeah. iPad, Apple Pencil, and an XP Pen. All right, and also some traditional art streaming equipment recommendations. Camera desk arm, bright white lighting so you can really see the full color of your art. And an important tip, make sure you check white balance so your artwork is not washed out. And any tips you want to give for any equipment that you started off with and how you grew to now?
I mean, I just started on my phone. Like, you don't really need anything fancy just to get going. I think I went on Amazon and found like a little $20 thing that just holds the phone, and it had a little ring light on it. Super basic, but that's all you really need. And then as you start to grow, then you can start adding in like more supplemental and fancy stuff.
Sorry, if we go to the next slide, it actually shows our before and after how we started. So I guess we could go through and talk about that.
Oh,
maybe?
yeah.
Yeah.
So like this one for my setup, you'll see it on the next slide, but like the first one was super basic. It's like camera, microphone, tablet, monitor. And now it's like a freaking space station type of thing. Like 2 monitors, a huge tablet, lights, better mic. Yeah, so just like upgrading slowly.
And here's Casey's setup.
Yeah, like I started off with my phone. Like I said, I moved to Canada and I had an iPhone 6S or something. And I just bought a little arm, and that's literally how I streamed on YouTube, sorry. I would have my phone and just stream, and then have the stream open so I could look at chat on my laptop. So I had a writing desk and a laptop and my phone, and that was it. Well, I had a microphone. But now I have like 2 screens. I have a HD camera for my face and the art, light. I would recommend natural light though if you don't have money to buy equipment. Natural light is the best light, which is unfortunate for nighttime, but there's some really good cheap tips for doing stuff on a budget, I feel like.
And then we have Poku's setup.
So I started off on a MacBook. It was a pretty old one, and it was like lagging like crazy, but I eventually upgraded to having 2 monitors. The current setup is actually the one that's on the lower side. Yeah, on the lower side. That's my current setup right now with the one of the 3 monitors. I've upgraded to that so I can have the chat on a separate screen, whereas I can still draw on like the actual drawing tablet. And yeah.
And then we have Chris setup.
Well, I'm primarily traditional, so even though I have like 3 giant screens and that big old Cintiq on a swivel arm, I'm on that like just a couple weeks a year. But my traditional setup is pretty simple. I just have a webcam just hanging over up top, and then you can see on the right side I have a Sony A6400 for the face. I do find that when you're doing if you're showing your face when you're drawing, it's like the higher quality that you have for your face. Actually, my numbers started going up for some reason. I don't know if it's this or if it's the camera. No, but I don't have a picture. I don't think I brought up a picture of like my actual stream layout, but it's actually incredibly simple. I'm a bit of a minimalist with mine, and people seem to really enjoy that. But it's the same idea with my setup. It's just the mic on one side, overhead light above the webcam, and then the face camera on the right. I used to, if you're not able to get like an arm that hangs over the table to shoot downwards onto your art, and you have to do it over the shoulder, like a 3/4 angle, put it on your non-dominant side, because if you go on the dominant side, your hand's gonna cover it. It sounds obvious, but I mean, you can go on YouTube and you see a lot of that. So.
Yeah.
Good tips, thank you. And we're going to get into equipment upgrade recommendations. Of course, we have our microphones. You can upgrade to Blue Yeti, HyperX, Rode, Elgato mics, and cameras, Logitech C920, Elgato Stream Deck, key lights. So many different products out there that you can upgrade to and take advantage of. And there's always sales somewhere. Make sure you look for them. Save money. And I wanted to ask you all, what are some of your favorite products you have upgraded to for your setup?
I really like oh my God, are they literally just called like the stream lights from Elgato? Those are
key light.
the key light, yeah. Those are so nice.
Key light,
yeah, key
Key
light,
Light Air.
yeah, those are great. And then I really like my Shure microphone. I think those are my like top 2 upgrades.
Perfect.
Was it the Elgato Camlink Pro?
Yes.
That's what allowed me to actually hook up my my higher end cameras straight into the computer, and that like made a huge difference, because before I was feeding it through the USB-C, and even that was just kind of like, it was like super choppy. When I upgraded to that, like the quality of all my stuff just went up, and it was like lossless. And I think that's, you know, other than upgrading lights, same lights,
Yeah.
I think that's my favorite thing.
Super unnecessary, but I got a green screen, so I'm just kind of like floating in front of my art, which is really nice instead of having like a big rectangle taking up some good, you know, retail for art. But it's fun to mess around sometimes. You can make your head float. You know, if you like wear green, it's great. It could be silly sometimes.
Perfect. And we're going to talk about engagement in an art stream. What is there to talk about on Twitch art anyways? So if you've never been to an art stream, you might assume that an art stream is, you know, boring and slow, exists purely just to draw free art for viewers. No, absolutely not. It's not true. What do you actually talk about in an art stream? And we could start off with our panelists.
Honestly, it's just like a just chatting stream. Anyone can just talk about anything. A lot of the times we're just sharing life stories. People will come in and always ask about art tips. So I think everyone does have art tips, whether they're a beginner or not, you know. So, you know, we recommend things, talk about our own personal experiences with art and just what our art journey has been so far and stuff. Anime, TV, video games, you know, all of that stuff too, we talk about.
It is borderline just chatting, right?
Yeah, it's almost just chatting. Just chatting plus an activity.
Yeah.
And there's a lot of like inside jokes that come out of it too that you start to build with your community that really helps you to connect to everybody. So it's like, it's probably the opposite of what you're thinking. Like, you know, there's a lot of goofing off and stuff and things that are like the antithesis of professional, but that's what makes it fun.
Yeah, like I said, it's like being in a room full of friends. So either you're doing like Q&A stuff with your fans, or you start talking about silly stuff, or just asking questions. I mean, you could be drawing your art one second and then drawing inappropriate things on your art the next. You know? Like, what if they had this, or what if they had that? You know?
TOS friendly though.
Yeah.
I find that the best conversations come up when the less experienced artists or people who are trying to figure it out come through. I find those are the best conversations. So like if you're in a position where they come to you for advice, you really should like take a second to think about it, because like some people really want help. But for engagement, I see that like people just love that. Plus you get to help someone. So, but yeah, so if somebody comes to you about like advice or that, you really should like, I honestly take it very seriously. But I know people really like that topic when it comes up.
Yeah, I know there's a few artists that are kind of like they hold their secrets really close to their chest, but I think a lot of community members really appreciate when you're transparent. It's like, I don't know, if I tell them like my brush pack, it's not like they're stealing commissions, you know what I mean? Like a lot of artists feel like that, but I think it's so much better when you can open up and talk to them about your process. I mean, they're watching you anyway, so they see the process, so you might as well open up and chat with them about how you make your art.
Awesome, I love that. And have any of you ever done like a full tutorial of like just drawing basics at all?
Yeah, I definitely have. I get a lot of questions about how to draw hands, so I've definitely done a hand tutorial before.
I know I did one for like creating creative monsters. That's a really old YouTube video though. Really, really old.
You have to update it then.
Yeah, I gotta get a new one.
I mean, I have YouTube videos where I, you know, show how to do certain things, but I don't know about streams. Sometimes people will ask me like, oh, like, how do you do this really quick? And I'll just like show them, but I've never done like a full-on how-to stream before. That's a lot. I don't know.
Content idea. I got you.
Yeah.
We actually had a couple where it was set up almost like a Comic-Con panel where I brought on some friends and we actually talked about the entire process of making enamel pins and tried to make it kind of like a cross between like a tutorial and like an open like panel where people do Q&A. And the thing about that is like, you might think that turns into competition. It absolutely doesn't. Anybody can pick up like a pen or a computer or something and everyone's going to have a completely different outcome. So nothing to worry about.
Absolutely. And let's get into how you can be a part of the Twitch art community. All right? So you're a streamer that wants to meet other streamers. Of course, we all want to meet other streamers, especially if we're in the same, category of content. You have to be interactive, of course. Building that community is super important, all right? Everyone that comes in, you can commentate what you're doing with your drawing. You can explain why you're doing this art, what it means to you, so forth. And do that with other streamers. You can even collab with them if you want. All right? Rating another stream, that's how that's how you communicate and bond with other streamers in that category. It's really important to share your community with others, so they can watch somebody else too when you're offline. And in the art community, I think the category of art has changed so much over the years. You have to stick together and be with one another. It's really important with bonding and building those connections. So if someone else raids you, ask about their work. What do you do? Are you a digital artist, traditional? What does art mean to you? That is a really good question to ask each and every one. Oop, there we go. And you're a viewer that wants to be a part of the art community. Lurking is always a perfect way to support all creators on Twitch, all right? Ask questions. What does this art mean to you? How did you get into art, and so forth? And participate in the streamers' community projects, challenges, and events, and just in discussion, So we can talk about how you built your communities and how your community runs today.
I know for me, I did a lot of live creature creation in terms of people would be like, all right, let's put a platypus, a leopard, and a stork in a straw poll. And so we do a couple of those, merge them together, and then we would, I would make one, and audience members would also create the creature with me. So we all had the base thing, but all of the monsters that we made just were completely different. So that was a really fun way to get them involved and also make stuff.
A majority of my streams are just we're in the sketchbook and we're practicing and learning, and I'll have specific topics that I want to learn, but I frame it in a way where it's we are going to learn this, and when they follow along, so when they follow along, that has really built my community to be more artists who are wanting to educate themselves more so than anything else. So I don't know, that was unintentional, but I'm happy with the way that it went. But yeah, that's kind of how I got them. That's how I got the crowd that I have now. It's because I started streaming because I was learning anyway. I just turned the camera on. That's who I attracted. So I guess what you're putting out there is going to be the kind of community you end up building. So
I actually forgot, I used to have a hashtag that I would invite my viewers to draw and then show me what they drew on Twitter. Haven't done that in a while, but I have introduced this monthly emote contest thing, which has been a lot of fun, where I invite my viewers to design their own emote, and they get to have that emote on my channel for a month, and it is the most thrilling thing ever. You get super into the votes, and it's who's gonna win? It's a lot of fun. I enjoy that a lot.
One thing I like to do every single week is something called an art challenge. And so basically, either the community or myself chooses a theme, and then people will draw something related to the theme. And then once it's the turn-in date, we'll all look at it together on stream and just kind of see what everyone has done. So if you actually look at the slide, that first picture right there, that's somebody else's art, and we're all looking at it together because the theme was transformed, and they drew a werewolf or something. So yeah, and then we're all yay, wow, amazing. And yeah, so that's something fun that we do all the time.
That's really cool because it brings the community into your stream and shines a spotlight on it.
Yeah, I've actually made a lot of friends and learned about other people's streams thanks to just doing this art challenge thing every single week. So yeah, it's been fun.
And it's been a while since I did one of these, but we used to do what I called Fan Art Friday, where me and several other art streamers would each pick a time slot, and then we would raid. We'd do basically a raid train, just raiding into each other. And it was a fun kind of community thing because people would start at the beginning of the raid train and get to experience all these different styles of artwork and all these different artists. And it kind of helps build your audience and kind of allow everyone to connect to each other.
Wonderful. And that's how you are a viewer of an art stream. And we are approaching our conclusion here. So we have some things to keep in mind. You don't need to be a pro to stream art. You can literally stream your journey from starting to now, all right? It's so fun to just go back and think, wow, I used to do this way, I used to do this art technique, now I'm doing something different now. And just being a part of that journey and seeing how you improve is beautiful. And you get to share that story with other people. And equipment is accessible, it doesn't have to be expensive, all right? Literally, you could buy a tripod on Amazon for 10 bucks, put your phone up there and get going. And you can stream directly on a Twitch app. Oh.
If you had the money to buy a TwitchCon ticket, you have money to get enough stream gear to start streaming.
Facts.
100%.
Yes. And don't forget to interact with your community and also interact and participate with other art communities. Like we saw on the previous slide, sharing your art with each other's community, reacting, drawing along is beautiful, and we love that. And remember why you started streaming. It's easy to feel bad about low interaction from chat, but don't look at the numbers, all right? Just focus on you, your art, and your community, all right? Engage with the people that are there and continue to grow, all right? It's a journey. We're all here to grow and be happy with that progress, you know. Every bit of progress is amazing, and you should be proud of yourself. So don't lose sight of your creative ambitions, ever. And if the panelists had any other tips to give people that are new to art or want to get into art, that would be perfect.
Yeah, actually, one thing that I think is kind of important to address because it affects like basically every artist is we all go through imposter syndrome. All of us, no matter what stage you are in your art career, you're always going to feel like there's somebody better than you. Am I good enough? Like those kinds of thoughts and feelings. And it almost like helps knowing that like we all experience it. So don't let anything intimidate you. Like, you know, just you are where you are in your art journey and just keep progressing.
Yeah, and don't wait until you're ready because you'll never be ready. Just start doing it. Start doing it.
Part of the reason, besides wanting friends that also are into art, another reason is to document the whole process, or just the whole progression from when you first started to where you are now. And I think any artist can feel that they feel really good after they see their really old art and they're like, "Ooh, what's that?" You know, and then compare it to now and they're like, "Wow, I'm actually getting better," even if you're probably not feeling too good about it, like in current times, you know. So, yeah.
Yeah, and I think for me, I would say like start with things you're passionate about, because if you're passionate about it, your community will feel that passion through what you make, and it's really easy to draw something you like. So like, I draw a lot of dragons. I don't care. I draw like a ton of them. And so like 90% of the stream is dragons because it's fun. So that's just fun to start with something that you like. So.
Perfect. Thank you. And then we're going to get into, art streams are pretty great, you know? Art streaming is still a unique and very recent thing in a video game dominated Twitch, you know? While not too many people know about art streaming, we're here, you know? We have this panel here. Now you know about it. Share it with your friends, you know? Get into it slowly, all right? Get the equipment you need and get started. All right, we're here to create. We're all here to create. It might not be drawing, it could be something else. We are creators as a whole, together. All right, so let's make some art.
Yeah.
And we can get started with Q&A if we have any questions from anybody here. And we have our mics here if you want to make a line, and we can start questions.
Also, could we get the other half of the ticket stubs so I could start tearing them while we take questions? Thank you.
This thing? Oh, hi.
Yep, perfect.
Yeah, so the question I had is, say for instance, well, I got two questions pretty quick. The first one is, if you're barely starting out, how do you funnel the following that you have successfully? Like, how do you do that on your end to bring it when you were barely starting on Twitch? And then the second question is, when you get raid, how do you keep that retention so that way you minimize the loss of people who are coming in? It's like, you know what, maybe I'm not interested in this, and they just leave, right? So those two questions, basically.
I guess for one of them in terms of like bringing community over from like other channels, I think my main one is YouTube. That's probably my largest thing. So I just like post about it. I plug it in videos. I just post it on everything. Like, I know it feels a little weird to market yourself like heavily, but you kind of got to do it. So you just like market and then just like push it constantly.
That is one of the important tips I heard about commissions one time is it feels weird to advertise yourself so much, but you need to because not everyone's going to see it the first time you post it. So if you're going to start streaming on Twitch and you already have a following somewhere else, then post it once. Maybe after a day you can post it again. Hey, I'm actually streaming on Twitch, or just like kind of like keep putting it in there. Like, hey, did you know I stream on Twitch? You know, like kind of how people do with Patreon. Yeah. And I think that'll bring some people to your stream, announce it on your Insta stories or Twitter and stuff like that too. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, because it definitely seems more like they're just not seeing your post more than they're not interested in it. Like if you have a big, because I start off mainly YouTube as well, and most of the things that got me started on Twitch were the people I brought over. But I mean, I had what, like 50K on YouTube at that time, and I barely got like a couple hundred of them. But that's because they didn't see your stuff. That's why you have to just keep reminding them. So even though, like they said, it feels weird to keep plugging yourself, I mean, to them, they're only seeing it like once or twice, even though you're putting it up like 10, 15 times.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think a lot of other platforms are notorious for shadow banning like other platforms. Like Twitter doesn't like it if you say the word shop or like Twitch or something. So it does feel obnoxious to keep telling people that you have this or that going, but you're just gonna have to get over it and just keep telling them over and over, I think, until, because also you can't expect everyone to be on Twitter 24/7. So like if they weren't there during that 30-minute span, they probably didn't see it and they'll never see it. So maybe the next day they'll see it.
Oh, and to answer, I think you asked about raids too. So that's it kind of ties into the whole marketing thing. The first thing you want to do is, of course, thank the streamer who raided you. You want to be sure to shine a spotlight on them and their community, usually saying just something like, oh, how was your stream? What did you guys do? And then sometimes like to try and help entice people to stay with me once they raid over instead of just like, unplugging and walking away. Sometimes I'll try and do like a little giveaway, like maybe for some stickers or something, nothing that's like too expensive or out there, but it's enough to like tantalize people to like, oh, maybe I should give her a follow. Maybe I should stick around for a little bit and see what this is about. So, just whatever you can do. In a way, it is kind of like marketing and promo all over again, but anything you can do to retain those, that viewership is really important.
Yeah, and sometimes I have like one of my better art pieces like completed like on another tab. So when someone raids, I'm like, okay, well, hey, look, this is my stuff. Like I know we're like at the sketch stage, but here's like a finished one that I have, and that can help retain people because they don't see the finished art yet, and so that helps too.
I've definitely seen some people stay just because of like whatever personality-wise they did. For example, I'm going to use a different art streamer. His name is Batsky Startman. He has this raid alert where he like multiplies like Naruto, and then he starts like dancing and stuff, and then like that usually keeps a lot of people there. So it's like things like that fit with his personality really shine through, and then that's like why people would stay sometimes too. And then seeing his art too, of course, yeah.
Thank you.
So when you're starting art or streaming or anything in general that's kind of skill intensive, there's always a phase where your ego is much higher than your actual ability. My question is, how do you let yourself go through the part where you're not very good, but you're okay with being not very good, and get to the point that you can improve?
I think for me, it was just kind of like, I don't know, you kind of humble up pretty quick in a way, like just have fun with what you're doing, because if you're having fun and someone comes in and kind of dogs on you, or maybe you don't feel as confident in your work, like if you're just having fun with the thing you're making, it kind of helps overshadow that lack of confidence.
In my experience, the only artists or people who have the time to like try to make you feel bad about your art really aren't worth listening to anyway. So if somebody comes in while you're drawing and they say something, they don't really matter anyway. So I don't know why you shouldn't let that affect, But at the same time, if you're able to identify, like with your drawing, if you could identify where your weaknesses are, then you should work on that.
Yeah, I think it's really hard just as an artist in general to remember that everybody grows at a different speed and everyone's end goal for their art is different. So I don't know. That's a really personal question, I think. How you get confidence as an artist, basically. Yeah, I think you just have to go on, please. If you have something to say. I don't know where I'm going with this. So.
No.
Yeah, that's a tough one, though. Yeah.
But also, long term as an artist, having a really big ego is going to make life really, really hard. So again, I don't know your situation, but like just chilling out will help you a lot, So if you start streaming and you only get like 3 viewers for like the first couple of months or something, just one, don't take it personally, but also, what makes you think you really, quote, quote, deserve more, you know what I mean? Just kind of like, I don't get what I deserve, I get what I get. And then you could just do your best, and if you're getting the results, if that's the result of you doing your best, you should be able to sleep at night with that.
Perfect.
Thank you.
Thank you.
So I had a question about, as a streamer, how do you balance like talking to your audience while also focusing on the art that you're doing too? Like, how do you work around that?
I know for me, I just have the chat kind of large so I can at least see it nearby and have it close to where my canvas is so I can see it simultaneously. But then, like, I don't know. I have like ways that they interact with me too. Like I have them do like posture checks or hydrates, and then that makes me stop, look at the chat, and like correct my posture so I don't like have a terrible hunchback. But yeah, like that helps a lot.
Yeah, it's just really important that you do engage, though. It's like super important, and that sometimes that might be the thing that's holding some artists back from growing some numbers, is if they aren't, addressing the audience and talking to them, because, again, it's all about the connection and wanting to connect to the artist. And so, yeah, like I for sure know that my work does slow down. I'm not as productive when I'm streaming. Like that's just, there's no way around it for me because I have to spend half of my energy, watching chat and talking to everybody. That's just how it is. So I just try and carve out time when I know I can be slower, and that's when I stream.
Yeah, drawing and talking at the same time is definitely a skill that you have to grow because it's very hard to do. But yeah, I would, even if you have, like we said, 3 people watching, and if they're not talking in chat, it helps if you're like a really chatty person and you just like talk to yourself, if you're like me and you just walk around your house talking to yourself, or your cats. That's a good skill to have, because then if someone does pop into your stream, the 4th person, and you're talking, then that'll keep them there. But yeah, talking and drawing is definitely something you just have to work on in general. So don't give up and keep trying.
One thing I try to keep in mind is it's your stream, so the pacing is up to you. If you have to draw right now, then start drawing. People will chat. You can get to it once you're done drawing. So I try to like space it out between maybe like a minute of drawing, or even just 30 seconds of drawing, glancing back to see if there's anything new. If there isn't, then I'll just go back to drawing. If there is something new, then I'll just kind of like go through the chat and answer questions or anything that people said. And for the most part, I actually don't miss too much in chat unless they're all like going crazy or something. But yeah, the pacing is up to you. So just keep that in mind.
Oh, and just to add one more thing, it's also important to have a good team of mods that can keep an eye out. So if your chat goes wild, they can do slow mode, and that helps a lot too.
Don't let your mods push you around, though.
That's what mods are there for, to hassle the streamer.
Just a side note, you know Ergo Josh? I've seen him put he puts like a timer where it'll just be pure drawing, and then I think it's like 30 minutes or an hour at a time. And then once that goes down, then he's fully invested in the chat. And I guess during that time, the chat is able to kind of come up with different things to ask. Because if you're focused for like half an hour, you're getting a lot of stuff done. Like I said, we all slow down while we're chatting. So that gives his audience a chance to like build up a lot of questions. And when he turns off the timer and he's fully engaged with them, then he's just like, and then he's still getting work done. So I think that's a really efficient way to do it.
Perfect. Thank you.
Hi. So my question is what really helped you guys determine how your layouts for like both your stream and your physical like layout for your stuff, like what helped decide, like how long did it take you guys to experiment with like your ergonomics and then your layout for your stream to decide, yeah, that looks good enough and I'm gonna leave it alone for a few months until I like bothers me too much,
I think my setup has changed like 7 times in the 5 years I've been in my house. So it's like every time I'm like, oh, I think I should move this here because this is a little better. And then it just slowly gets to a point I like, and it still is changing. So yeah, I don't know. There's not a for sure time limit, just a lot of trial and error.
I think it will continuously change based on whatever your needs are at that time. Like, let's say your feet were fine like 3 months ago, but like let's say your ankles are hurting now. You're going to start changing things up, like that. I recently switched to a standing desk for the digital art side of what I do, and it's helped a lot because I realized like when I do digital, for some reason, I look this a lot. So I needed to push it upwards and that. So I think if you just pay attention to what's starting to ache, I think you'll be able to make the proper adjustments.
Definitely, okay.
And you can look back and watch your old streams too, and you're like, oh, my face is not visible. Let me move my camera.
Yeah, just keep trying things, seeing what works, see what doesn't work. There's no shame in having a different layout every single stream as you try things out. Never let your chat know what you're going to do next, Maybe your head will be on the left this time.
I'll just flip upside down, no worries.
Keep them on their toes.
Boy, they do notice when you change little things. Huh?
When did that pixel get there? Don't worry about it. Come on, just draw. Come on, it's just a pixel.
A lot of what helped me was actually watching other people's streams to see what stream layouts I liked whenever I watched them. So kind of like Chris, I like to keep it pretty minimalist. And so I just have my screen of whatever I'm drawing and then a webcam. And probably some alerts that I actually use to like look at when I look at OBS, like if there's a new follow or if there's a new sub or something. I like to look at it like that. As for the physical setup, it takes a long time, mostly because of financials. Like a lot of things are expensive. But yeah, I think it's just going to be an ever-changing thing forever. Because I just changed to the standing desk too. I got like the ergo arm where you can like move the monitor back and forth and stuff like that. But even then, I feel like it's still not perfect. So it's just going to be an ever-changing thing.
Okay.
Yeah.
We're all works in progress, so are our streams.
All right. Thank you so much, guys.
Yeah.
So I was just wondering if there are like any tips and tricks for how to keep engaging with chat, not necessarily engaging with chat, but just finding things to say. Like I'll find myself getting pretty quiet a lot of the time, and that can be okay if I do like slower extreme or something. But I seem to have difficulty finding like those threads of conversation, if you will, when it comes to art streaming versus doing like gaming streams or something. Are there any ways that you guys go about finding those threads a little bit easier?
When I feel like things are getting slow, I'll just start like vocalizing what I'm doing. Like, all right, so I'm going to rotate this perspective right here, right? And then like, just like drag it out. And you're kind of creating conversation, but you're creating it based on like the thing that you're drawing already. So it's like, I mean, it's already there. If they engage with it, and people who watch art streams usually are other artists. So that would be the best way to kind of like throw darts at the board and maybe start conversation.
Yeah, and then I go through like, oh, I just watched like this new movie on Netflix. And then if there's crickets, I'm like, oh, cool. Well, then I went out and checked out this new boba shop recently. I just go through whatever's been happening in my life, like I'm talking to like a friend. And then once chat like latches on something, we'll focus on that for quite a while. So that helps.
Yeah, just saying everything that I'm doing, just narrating what I'm doing, or just like word vomiting every thought that just comes out with a little bit of censoring, of course. You know, I don't want to say everything, but, you know, just like talking away. I guess it helps if you just really like to talk. I don't know.
Do you find that bleeds into your normal life? I started like saying everything I'm doing with my art on stream for the engagement purpose. But I feel like I do that with everything I do.
I already did that.
Yeah.
Already did that.
Yeah, 100%.
I think I'll go in the kitchen and do it. Just be like Casey. You don't need to let everybody know in the house, aka the 2 cats. The cats don't need to know that you're going to the kitchen. No, that's just me.
Well, and people also love drama. They love gossip. So, you know, since I do a lot of conventions, sometimes I'll just start telling stories, you know, weird things that happen, interesting people I saw, and sometimes that can spark like a whole discussion in itself.
I think a
Asking
lot.
what they're.
Oh, sorry. Do you want to go? I think a lot of the conversations I have is also just stories of like weird people I met, or like, I don't know, just weird experiences I've been, or gossip, like you said. But yeah, sorry. Or food. I talk about food a lot. I think like every 20 minutes, I don't know.
And sometimes you can just do something simple like throw up a poll in your chat just to get people like, you know, what's your favorite fast food place or something, you know, that can like start a whole thing too.
Asking what they're currently working on, or what they're drawing, or if they have a project, or, you know, when you ask that, usually you kind of, like, people love to talk about their projects. So you could start filling up the chat real quick just by asking what they're doing. Like, oh yeah, tell me all about it. They'll tell you about it.
All right, thank you.
Hi. So I was wondering, what bitrate and resolution would you recommend for someone who has a bit slower or more inconsistent internet?
Ooh, it's a little bit harder for a technical side. Bitrate resolution. I don't know. I think you could probably get away with, oh God, I don't know screen sizes past a certain size. What are they, 1080, and what's the other one? Yeah, I think you could get away with 720. That might be a good enough resolution if your internet's slow.
Yeah, I was using 720 at 24 frames for the longest time. Actually, before I upgraded my internet, I was 720 at 20 frames. And because I was doing traditional art, nobody noticed. Yeah. I would flip it around and be like, all right, I'm going to do 24 today, I'll do 30. But then it'd start laggy at 30, and so I dropped it down to 20, and nobody noticed. So I haven't tried that with digital. Does the cursor like start to hop around?
It's not too bad. I don't think, yeah.
I find dropping your FPS, while like gamers can't really do that because like it's very obvious. When you're drawing, nobody notices. So that's an easy way to kind of minimize the load.
Yeah, and if you know this is going to be a recurring problem, then keep your phone handy, because you can always just go on self-service and say, hey, you know, go in your chat and say, hey guys, sorry, like internet's down, just hang on like 5 minutes, I'm resetting it right now. And that can often help like retain the viewers.
All right.
Get a husband that is really good with tech. That's my big tip.
Pro tip.
All right, thank you.
Yeah. That's all I got.
Note taking intensifies.
I think I have the same setup as you, Casey.
You got one of those husbands too?
Yeah, I do.
May I add something to that?
Sure.
Yeah, try to consider that this is all going to be mostly all seen on mobile phones. So try to consider perhaps making fonts look bigger, and try to lower your bit rate so that people that are going through like the subway or some other part where the signal's not that great, they can still load. Because I've been having so many issues to try to like watch a stream. It cuts out because it's only locked at 1080 or 720, and the quality, you can't adjust that, so it cuts out a lot. So take that into consideration if that helps.
Cool.
Absolutely.
I apologize if this was already covered, but if you've had a brand or a sponsorship for your art channel, can you speak a little bit more on that?
Yeah, you go.
also on like how to potentially gain a art sponsorship?
Well, I've only had one my entire time, and I'm still currently with them. Y'all seem some young people. Who here knows about DeviantArt? Okay.
I do.
DeviantArt approached me last year. They were looking for Twitch streamers to kind of carry the brand and bring people to the site, and they found me through. They found me through doing conventions. So I think for me, the only sponsor I got was because I put myself out there and like met them at the con. Yeah. But in regards to like reaching through the internet,
I know I've sent some like tweets or Instagram messages here and there where I like their brand and want to interact, and sometimes that sticks. It's a little hard if you do that's like almost like cold calls. Or if you have the opportunity to talk to someone like at a booth at a convention for something, because that's how I met up with like Illo Sketchbooks, and they sponsored like 2 of my contests. It's just because I met someone in person at a convention and talked to them and told them about my stuff. So yeah, it's kind of a random happenstance, but you can also try to like reach out to someone within the company too.
Yeah, it never hurts to shoot them an email. I mean, what's the worst that can happen is they'll ignore you. I don't have any experience with streaming sponsorships. It's more the videos, the YouTube videos for me, but usually they just approach me, but it doesn't hurt to email them. Yeah, just email them.
I've also heard that just tagging them in things can get you a retweet on your page. Because I've seen cosplayers do it with like Jujutsu. You don't retweet anything that's desired. So sometimes in the same way. Just so just get a quick shout out, and then some people will notice and be like, hey, you're interested in the brand. It puts people on the radar at least as well.
Yeah. Yeah, that's what I did with Arteza. I like bought one of their paint packs, and I was like, I'm gonna just try this, and then I tagged them, and they're like, oh, hello, and then they send me an email, and I'm like, okay, cool, sponsorship. So sometimes you got to put some money up for their stuff, and then they'll come back and be like, here. So yeah.
I guess that falls into the same thing we were talking about earlier about, you may be uncomfortable promoting yourself over and over and over, but then when you're reaching out to companies or trying to get commissions, it's the same thing. You gotta, whether or not you're comfortable with it, you gotta at least try it.
There's this Stream Elements partnership type program. You can apply for that, and if you get in, they usually have a lot of different sponsorships that they can offer you. I've worked with Final Fantasy VII before, and just did like random artwork and stuff, just to promote the new remake and stuff like that. I worked with some other game companies before, just because they've reached out to me through that Stream Elements thing. So that could be a good focus, is to join something like that so that you can get some more sponsorships through it.
Solid. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Okay, so I know that you guys talked about this a little bit in the presentation, but comparing like your own art to other people's art could sometimes be really difficult, even though it's kind of important not to do that. So do you guys have any more specific tips on how to stop doing that?
Yeah, I think one thing that helped me a lot was doing some art challenges, like, Inktober or something, because anything that can take a lot of the pressure off of you, where it's like, oh, you only have this amount of time, so, of course it's not going to be your very best work. Being able to just do a bunch of those can sometimes help, because it helps you not only I guess get better at your craft, but also do it in a way where you're not feeling pressured and comparing yourself so much.
And I think it's always hard because we all have those mental low days where we see someone, we're like, oh my God, they're like 12 and they're drawing how I am now. We all have those. So I think what helps me a lot is like looking at my old work and seeing, comparing myself to my old self. And I'm like, no, Katelyn, you can calm down. Look how much you've progressed. And then focusing in on like things I want to make and projects I want to complete. That helps me a lot, where I'm like, nah, I can't be sad. I gotta draw this thing. So yeah,
It's true. Sometimes if you get so busy, you can't even, you have no time.
Yeah, I'm too busy to be sad.
There's like two different ways you can use comparison. Like the healthy way is to look at somebody's artwork that you deem is better than yours and just pick it apart and find the things that you want to learn how to do. That's the responsible way to do it, and that's how you're going to get better. I feel like if you're especially on social media too much, because I don't like to be on social a lot, but it's my job. But I feel like if you browse artwork and you're allowing it to make you feel bad, then you gotta just put it down for a little bit and be a little bit more responsible. Say, I can't use this responsibly. Just gotta put it down. I'm just gonna draw. Make out the things that, write out a list of things that you need to get better at with your art. Just put this down and then go work on that. And if you do that, I know asking somebody to get off of social for like a week is a lot to ask, but you'd be surprised how much progress you're gonna make with your drawing if you just step away from it for a little bit. And then every time I do that, I notice I care a little bit less about other people's artwork, because at the end of the day, it actually has nothing to do with your artwork. And that's what's gonna be most beneficial to you, like up here.
Yeah, and then you can be you can also be a pro at the post and run. You post and then you put it away, and that's it. I've also set, like on my iPhone, I have time limits on certain apps because I used to refresh the YouTube Studio. I'm like, oh my God, did I get a new subscriber? Did I? And then when it started going down, I'm like, oh, this is bad, this is bad. So I set like a 1 minute time limit. I cannot look at that app any longer than a minute, and it locks me out hard. So that's helped me a lot too.
A lot of it is also just mindset. Whenever you see another artist, it's useless to compare it to yourself, because the journey that you guys have taken to get to the certain art level that you're at is totally different. The inspirations you have are totally different. The just life experiences you've had are all really different. And like Chris said, it doesn't even matter to your art, right? So one thing I like to remember is whatever I'm creating right now, if I think it's cool, then I'm the only one who can make it. No one else is going to make what I'm making right now. So just focus on wanting to finish that project and share it if you want to share it. You don't have to, Yeah.
You've seen the weird things that people give likes to, so it shouldn't bother you if you don't get any of them.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you.
Question, what is Twitch doing to promote the art streams and the artists, and more specifically also, like what metrics are you guys looking at from your streams and stuff, and how do I compete with Bob Ross?
It's hard to beat Bob Ross.
So actually, I think it was last year in November, they actually did a whole month of November where they put different artists and creatives on I think they call it the carousel, the front page carousel. And so you're basically on it for like, I think about an hour. So I thought that was pretty cool. I was actually part of it too, and it was crazy. But yeah, I think they are trying, and then things like the Artist Alley here too. I think that's, there's a lot of stuff that they're doing to try and help like push artists a little bit more, which is cool.
Sometimes I'm just happy that they have an art section. I don't know who here uploads videos to YouTube.
Yeah.
There's no, I've been uploading for like almost a decade. There's still no button on there that says art or artists or creation. You have to put in like people in blogs or education, yeah, so. Yeah. Side note, when you go into the art section and you're scrolling down and you're trying to find different people to look at, you can hit the bottom of it. That's how few artists there are. So I think that's pretty cool, like, to get engagement.
Personally, I would like to see a little bit more effort from Twitch to push artists more, because when I first started on Twitch, which was 6 years ago, there was this channel called the Adobe channel, and they would like partner up with like a whole bunch of different art streamers, and they would promote them. And I'm pretty sure that was in partnership with Twitch. There used to be like an art contest where like, Twitch streamers could do game art for a sponsorship that was ran by Twitch and stuff like that. So personally, I would like to see a little bit more. There is still some push for it. But I do think there's part of reality check that a lot of what Twitch gets promoted is a lot of video game stuff. But yeah, that doesn't take away from art streaming though. I think art streaming is special in its own way because we're all there for like our own special interests and like meeting other artists and stuff like that. It's not really just to grow big or anything like that. So I think there's more value to it. No way, personally, that's how I feel.
It's small, but Twitch did do the emote artist thing.
Oh yeah, you can tag your artists for your emotes.
Yeah, so at least there's that. Now like big streamers can tag or like give credit to whoever artist did their emote, so that's good, which I do use for my monthly contest thing. But I don't know, what is Twitch doing for artists? That's a good question. Twitch?
I like the emote thing.
Hello.
So I was curious what y'all do when it comes to having a boundary between what you want to create and what your community is interested in. Because I've had people come and be like, "Oh, you're drawing this again," and I'm like, I don't know what to do with that. So.
My name is on the stream. That's what I tell them. No, I'm just.
I get to pick what it is.
No, I don't know. I never really asked them for input. It's kind of like, and it might be different for everyone here, but like I don't have an itinerary built around my stream. I have like my itinerary, and that's what I'm gonna be streaming.
Yeah, it's hard to be harsh to your audience sometimes. Like, you want people to stay there, so you don't want to be like, no, I'm not doing this. But in the end, it is your like show. Like, you are doing what you want to do. I personally do have streams where I do like dumb doodles where I'll have them request certain things, and I'll just do like a silly little doodle. So that's like sort of my outlet to let them tell me what to draw sometimes. But in the end, it is what you are drawing what you want to, and I think it is hard to tell them no sometimes, but I think you just have to sort of stick to your guns and, let them know what you're doing today, and they're welcome to join you. And if they don't want to, they don't have to. But yeah, I think you just have to be honest and harsh sometimes. Yeah.
And I think the community members that like you for what you do and what you make will stick around. So I don't think you should worry about if there's some that come in and they're like, oh my gosh, can you draw like Sailor Moon today? Or like a specific thing, like, they might just be a fleeting thing that comes in and demands something and then runs, like stick to your guns and the community will follow you and what you like to make, so.
Yeah, I think it's kind of similar to like if you take commissions, you already kind of have your own boundaries of like maybe I'm not going to do this, I won't do that character, I won't do anything that's not family friendly. So just stick to your guns, set your own boundaries ahead of time, stick to your guns, and I think the most important thing is like creating what you want to create, because then the passion comes through. And if you start doing it because it's almost like a client relationship where they're telling you to do something and you do it and you can tell it's just not as good as like the art that you're passionate about. So yeah, just be you.
I do think sometimes, so I work on a comic on my stream, and I have to do that because a lot of the times artists just are doing like other things, like let's say like con prep, and they're like making things for convention, or they're just working on something that has to get done. So sometimes you just gotta like separate what you wanna do for the stream viewers versus what you have to actually get done. Like Casey, I actually have a point redemption called Scuffed Doodles. So if anyone wants like a little tiny doodle, then I'll just like do it on the spot or something and have a limit of 3. So if people actually want it, then they'll just redeem it on that day or something. So that is a good way to kind of do something for them and then work on your own thing at the same time.
Awesome, thank you.
And we are all done with Q&A. But don't worry, we can still ask questions in the hallway, for sure. I want to thank everybody for joining us today. I hope you have a beautiful rest of your weekend here at TwitchCon. And thank you to our panelists. And we have one more thing. I'm sorry, I forgot. We have a raffle, everybody.
Oh, yeah.
One more ticket.
Okay.
And where are we going to put these tickets? Caitlin, in your hat?
I think the bag.
Oh, just the bag? Oh, I thought you were going to get creative.
I'm going to pass it down. I don't know if anyone wants to pull out of my sweaty hat for the day.
I mean.
Okay, here, grab a ticket. Okay, first one is, if everyone's ready, 830063. Get up here.
Oh, I got the spicy one.
You got this.
You got the number.
Are we ready for the next one?
Oh, yeah. Thanks. Yeah, go for it.
The last 3.
Oh, they're all.
Yeah,
oh,
they
yeah.
all start
Oh, I guess
with
they're
We're
all-
just gonna go last three numbers. 069.
Nice.
Anyone?
Nice.
069.
For the last
There
three.
we go.
Hey.
Congratulations on the 69. Next up, we have 117. Yay.
Nice.
Golf clap.
Yeah. Congratulations.
Thank you.
All right, and we have 113.
That's my husband. Here you go. Free goodies for you, my dear. One of our husbands was going to win it.
And the last one is 132. Yay.
And now we clap. Big clap.
Was it said that it's all of our merch and stuff that's in there?
Oh.
Okay.
Yeah. It's a donut.
Perfect. Enjoy the goodies, everybody. Now we are
Thank
all
you.
done. Have a good weekend. And thank you to our panelists.